Sync clap. What is up, YouTube? Today we are going to be completely disassembling an Alesis Strike Pro tom. This is a 14-inch tom. We're going to take it apart all the way down to the shell.
No disassemble!
So the purpose of this video has multiple reasons, but the main reason is back when I did a video a while back when I rewrapped my drums, you know, and I put this green chrome on here. And there was some people that commented on that, and another post that I had made in some Facebook groups. There's some people, they commented, you know, man, I wish that I had the confidence to do something like that. I wished, you know, that I wished I could, you know, take my drums apart. And this video, and what I want to do in this video is to show you that it's not that difficult. And I'm going to break it down into, like, not layman's terms, but I'm going to try to break this down to where anyone out there that can use a screwdriver can take these drums apart and rewrap them if it's something that they would like to do. So you might be a mechanical genius out there and you're thinking, I don't need anybody to show me how to take this drum apart. You know, I can do that. But you may have some interest in this video because we're going to take it apart and we're going to look at the insides, and we're going to see what a modern day electronic drum, what it's made out of. This is a flagship Alesis drum. It's not the most expensive, okay? And there's probably not the most technology, without getting into a whole bunch of technical mumbo jumbo, because I don't understand the piezos and a lot of the stuff inside this drum. You know, I really don't understand that, but I can take this thing apart and put it back together, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So to start out with, all you need to take this drum completely apart is 3 tools. You'll need your drum key, of course. You will need a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. This is very important. If a lot of people out there doesn't know their screwdrivers, the Phillips screwdriver, you know, there's multiple sizes of it, but you will need a number 2. You probably can't see it right here. Let me see here. This says PH2 on here. This is a little stubby screwdriver. I suggest a stubby. We'll get into that. And then you'll need a 13mm wrench. You can use some pliers, but what I'm trying to tell you is the proper tool, the right tool for the job. This is it. So the stubby screwdriver, the reason why I suggest that you use a stubby screwdriver versus a full-size screwdriver, this regular screwdriver would work on every other drum, the 10, the 12, the 14, it'll work on all those, but you may have a little bit of trouble if you'll see that getting to the screws with a full-size screwdriver on this 10-inch, on this 8-inch tom. On this 8-inch tom, as you can see, a full-size screwdriver, getting to the screws is a little bit difficult. And if you want to do this the right way, I'm trying to show someone, this video is going to be kind of like teaching someone this is difficult, right? Because I don't normally teach on my channel. This is not a learning channel. There's plenty of channels out there if you want to learn this kind of, but I want to give someone the confidence that thinks that this is something that they can't do. If you own this drum set, okay, let me tell you the hardest part about this. If you own this drum set and you break this head, you're going to have to replace it. Taking this top head off and on, putting the head on properly, getting it back on there right, and getting the right tension is the hardest part about doing this. The rest of it is a piece of cake. I'm going to show you how to do it. Let's grab the 14-inch tom. The reason why I'm going to use the 14-inch tom in this video is because, from what I can tell, it's exactly like the snare drum. The only difference is it doesn't have the tom mount. The snare doesn't have the tom mount on it. And I couldn't really tell a difference. And I'm not rewrapping my snare because I've got it wrapped in a satin black and I like it. I'm going to leave it like that. But I'm rewrapping the drums, keeping out for the video. I should have said in the beginning of this, I'm creating a playlist. In my last video, I talked about I'm just having fun here. I'm enjoying my drum set, and I like to customize things to my own liking. And I'm rebuilding the drum set, and I'm adding on to it, and I'm putting a big rack up, and I'm doing all kinds of, and I want to video it because I like making videos and rambling. All right, so here we go. We're going to get started with, I'll try not to take up too much of your time, but this is going to take a minute because I'm not really going to cut. I've probably done a lot of cuts in the video up until this point, but I'm not going to do a lot of cuts from this point forward because I want to walk someone through exactly how to do this. We're going to take this drum completely apart. and I'm going to put it back together. First thing that I like to do is I like to go ahead and pull the rubber off of the rim. From what I understand, this is just a silencer, so your sticks doesn't make noise when you hit the rim, and it also helps with the fact that this is a 2-zone pad. You can hit the rim and it makes a sound, and you can hit the drum and it makes a sound, and I think it helps with that. I don't know. I don't really know the whole how this thing works. You need to be tidy and have things to, you know, like put your hardware in and stuff like that. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this top head off. I'm just going to uncrank these. I'm not using any power tools. I don't suggest, if you're not like, without trying to talk down to anyone, if you're not handy dandy with the power tools, you could easily do this with like a little impact wrench. But I wanted to do it like this because I don't advise, if you're not a handy dandy guy around the house or lady, I wouldn't advise using any power tools on your expensive drums. I may have to cut to where I get these bolts out, but I don't really want to. I didn't really want to do a cut. I wanted to leave it live action, and you know, we'll just leave it. This video may be 40 minutes long, but we're just going to leave it. Fast forward through this. So I have kept the boxes that these drums come in. And I like to put the parts, we'll get to that. I like to put the actual electronics back inside the box to protect them. But for now, for the sake of the video, I'm just going to kind of set things over here to the side. Normally I would get up and I would take this over there. Matter of fact, I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to be lazy. I'm just going to go over here. Oh, let's go ahead and pull the head off. Let's stick. I'm not good at training people on how to do things. I hope I have this in the center. Let's go ahead and lift the head off, right? And then we have this foam inside here. I'm just going to gently pull this off and lay this inside the head. And I drop the rim. I'm going to place the head inside the rim. And then I'm going to go over here and set it aside. I should have said in the beginning of the things that you need to do this. You need to do this on a table. Don't do this in the floor. Get you an elevated surface. I'll get to the reason why here in just a second. So here's where you might need another tool. The 3 tools might not get it, but I just use my fingernails and I take this little knob off my fingernails. Get behind it. And you just pull that little knob off. Bloop. And this knob has a little dot to let you know that it's top dead center or whatever. And this is the sensitivity knob for this. And I always just leave it in the center because that's where it works. But it has a detent. You can feel it. So it's easy when you put this back together. You just put it in the detent, hold the knob towards the top, hold the little dot that it has on the knob, hold it towards the top, and it just slips right back on there. Very easy. Not that big a deal. Take that out. Put that in my little parts department. Now this is where your 13 millimeter socket, or I'm sorry, you could use a socket, but 13 millimeter wrench. We're just going to gently take this nut off here. Hopefully this camera is catching it. If I was right-handed, I would do it this way so you can see it. Let's spin it around. Let's try to do it like this so this camera can get it too. But you just take this little nut off. And what I like to do, so I don't lose any of the parts, you've got like a little metal backing in there, right here. You got this. So I like to just take this and put this right back on. Just be gentle with it. There's not a whole lot going on in here. Get our 13 millimeter, take this one off here. They're not real tight. I noticed when from the factory, they're actually really loose. Looser than I would like to see them. So this one has 2 washers. It has one on the inside and one on the outside. So careful not to drop that. Yep, leave your washer on the inside there. Double washer. Lay that to the side. Now to the part where I suggest you need a table. Hopefully this is getting it. What I like to do is I like to gently hang the drum off the edge of my workbench here or whatever, and take the bottom bolts off, or the bottom lugs. I'm going to loosen that one up just a little bit. Don't completely take it out. I'm going to rotate to this side over here. Rotate it around. Really should have like a towel down so I'm not scratching the rim on your workbench. Should do this. Move over to the next one. Hopefully this camera is getting it. With it dangling off the side. You could probably like lean it up, but you'll see why I'll do this here in a minute. You could probably lean it on its side, but the bottom rim is actually holding the electronics up in here. You'll see we're almost there. Like this is not that hard to do. I'm just going to go around and just slightly loosen these up to where they're hand tight. And that should take care of it. Now I'm just going to take them out by hand. Put my hardware in there. Some of you guys that are hanging around that was curious about what the inside of this drum looks like, I'll give you guys a good look as soon as I get these last two bolts out here. And now you're ready to just lift the shell right off of the electronics, the electronic portion. All right. So we'll give this thing a little spin here. From what I can tell, we've got a piezo here. I don't know if that's for the rim. And then there's another fancy little sensor in there. And then it's got these cones that rest against the head. I really like how this, compared to like some of the add-on triggers where it's just like one cone in the middle. I do like this idea. I'm sure, I'm sure there's a lot of thought and a lot of science went into this. We're not going to take all that apart because there's no sense in it. Because all I'm after is to wrap the drum, and that's what I'm trying to help people, figure out that they can do is wrap the drum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this assembly and I'm going to put it back in the box that the drums came in, and that's going to protect it from my cat and whatever else while I work on my shell. All right, so now that that's out of harm's way, we can take our Phillips head screwdriver, and I like to just use this old GoPro case here and start taking things apart. I'm going to start by taking the emblems off. And the last time I wrapped the drums, I went through the trouble of putting the emblems back on, but this time I'm not going to put them back on. So they got screws holding them on, and along with that, they're also like stuck with glue, kind of like a double-sided tape. And I've already done this once. I've already took them off, so it's not that big a deal. What I used was this little plastic thing. You could probably take a like a credit card, bank card or something. But what I've also seen people do is get some dental floss and, wrap it around your fingers and put the dental floss around here and, work that decal off if you want to save it to put it back on. I've already had these off once, so they've kind of like been stuck and a couple of times already. But this time around, I'm not going to put those back on. But you just reverse the process. If you're careful when you take it off and you don't get any dirt on it, put it in a safe place, you should be able to just stick it back on. But the screws should hold it just fine. The glue is just overkill, if you ask me. Throw it down here. So, this tom support. Here's a little tip. Well, let me get the bolts more. Let me get the bolts out more, and then I can explain this a little bit. So the screws for the tom mount are different than the screws for the lugs. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and put the screws for the tom mount. Probably, usually what I generally do is I just put them right back in when I take them off. But in order not to be fidgeting with it much for this video, I'm just going to set them over here where my lugs are and keep them separated that way. On a couple of the drums, I've noticed, I think it was the 12-inch. This one doesn't have a slot in it. But I think the 12-inch tom, this plate is really close to these holes. Hold, I don't know if you can see that. Hold on, I'll get it where you can see it. Hold on. My nose is still stopped up. I've had sinuses for like a week. It's been horrible. All right, so this one's not like that, but some of the drums, there's a notch, and it's to clear. It's really close to some of these holes. So if you open your drum up and you notice that little notch, you know, document it. Take a picture of the inside. You know, that way you've got it where it needs to be, or just take a pencil and draw around that little notch. That way you know when you put it back together that you're putting this plate back on the right way, and you're not putting it on backwards. But this particular one is not got a notch in it. So I'm holding this bracket on. I want to take it off the shell in this position, okay? And that's because I discovered this the hard way. It's because inside here, there is some little plates. I don't know why they're just in there loose, but they're in there loose. They're just in there. So if you're not paying attention, they'll just fall out. So then you're like, oh no, what do I do? Which way did they go in there? I don't know. They won't fit like this, but they will fit this way and this way. Just remember that the little notch that's in it, this notch right here, the direction that it goes is towards the handle where you tighten it up. So you just put it back in there like that and like that, and you're good to go. But I like to, and that's what this little rubber piece does right here, is it holds those into place when you take the drum apart and keeps it from rattling. So that's a good little tip. If yours falls out, you may be panicking, wondering how those go back in there. So I'm just going to lay my parts back in there. And, you know, pretty much all that's left is taking these lugs off. Easy peasy. Let me get this over here like this. And you can use a regular screwdriver on this. It just needs to be a number 2. That's important. Don't try to come over here with your screwdriver for your glasses and try to take these bolts out. You don't want to strip them out. I'm just trying to help you out. I don't know what just happened to my overhead camera, but has this not been recording the whole time? Or did it overheat? I bet it overheated. GoPro sucks. DJI mic sucks. Everything that I try to use to do camera work with just sucks. I think it got hot. If it cuts off again, I'll have to switch over to this camera, which is my phone. Hopefully the audio is picking up good on it. Yeah, yep, got hot. Alright, so no overhead camera for the rest of this. But you guys get it. You guys got it. I'm going to put it back together. Also, because there's some tips you might need to know for that. Put these screws up here to keep the screws from beating them up. I don't want to scratch my stuff. These drums are still new to me. And I'd like to take care of them. I just can't make up my mind what color I want them to be, so I keep changing it all the time. That's okay. I enjoy doing it. The next video after this, I'm going to be wrapping the drums and some new wrap that I'm trying out, and I'm trying a different technique than I've ever done before. So you might want to check that out. I'll be filming it probably immediately after this. I am going to, at the end of this video, I don't know how long it is. It's really long, but wanted to hang in there. I wanted to show you guys that it's not this bad. It's not that bad. I mean, the hard part's over with. I got anything. The part that you can harm the most has already been removed and safely in the box over there. I think I'm trying to shoot at 4K with the GoPro and overheated. I don't know. I'm trying to hurry so the video is not too long. I'm going to cut it after I get these lugs off down to this. Actually, I'm going to probably take the shell, the wrap off of the shell. That way we completely disassembled it, right? Last screw. Come on. All right, there's that. At this point, you're ready to wrap, right? So I took and just wrapped over the top of the original wrap on the last drum that I did. I mean, the last time that I wrapped these, I can't even think straight. But this time on this new technique that I'm trying, technique or whatever, I'm pulling the wrap completely off, down to the wood of the shell. So this is not what you would want to do if you're just... I think I'm using my good side cutters to do this with. Not a good idea. Always use the right tool for the job. Use a Phillips head screwdriver as a pry bar. I have not had any trouble getting this off until now. It's because I'm filming it. Good Lord. They've got staples in there, but normally they're... Oh, shit. Freaking gold glitter everywhere. This stuff just flakes right off. It's the cheapest daggum wrap there is that I've ever seen. There. Completely disassembled. Down to the shell. I'm going to wrap this shell, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to put it back together right quick. Got that done. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start putting this drum back together. Let me get my stuff out here. This time around, I'm going to use my drill to speed things up so I'm not boring you guys too much. So I'm going to get right at it. I'm going to start putting this thing back together. And I didn't want to leave y'all hanging. There's some things at the end for some people that doesn't know what's going on, you know, with this, that they might need to know. So, yep, I'm going to go ahead and start putting this thing back together. I'm using my number 2 Phillips. Very important that you use that. Not going to just like crank down on them things, just going to tighten them up. Just going to tighten them up just a little bit. Trying to speed up the process here. I turned the resolution down on the overhead camera. Hopefully it's not going to cut off on me this time. But I had the resolution in like 4K because I wanted to be able to zoom in and crop and not lose any resolution, but it didn't want to play along. Apparently the Hero 10 doesn't want to record very long in 4K 60. I'm just going to go ahead and hand put some of these bolts in right quick and then just go around and zip them up tight so we can wrap this video up. Maybe pop the head off of a bass drum right quick. Like I said earlier in the video, if you don't know how to change the head on a drum, then maybe you don't have any business doing this. Oh man, I forgot to hit my backup record. Crap. I hope the audio, this stupid backup recording, sync that. Hopefully the audio's not messed up and I have to use this backup recording. This stupid DJI microphone has, I mean, I got to get the bugs worked out. I did the video I did a while back about being left-handed. I used the GoPro and I plugged the DJI microphone into it, and there was some kind of weird, like the cord had a short in it and the audio was horrible. I had to record that whole video. That was the second take on that, and redid the whole thing. And then I don't even know, I haven't even edited the video yet before this one where I was talking about, you know, the series that I'm going to be doing and all that kind of stuff. I don't even know if I posted that video. I don't even know if you're seeing it. But something was wrong with the microphone the whole time that I did that. And it's okay. You can hit record and you can do like a backup and it records directly to the microphone. But I forgot to turn it on. I just got to get in the habit of doing the backup. And then everything will be fine. Go around and zip that up right quick. I already got those. I already did those. This is not a very strong little impact wrench. So it's not like industrial or anything. It's a 12 volt. So it's not really tightening those up real tight. Alright, so that takes care of all the lugs. Let's put this. Oh, did it fall apart? No, it's still together. So I think what I've noticed, this is the top of the drum, but I've been putting the handle, like this is the top. I've been putting the handle going towards the left is the way I've been doing it. So I don't know if that's right, but as long as you got them all the same, I guess that's all that matters. I don't really think that matters which way that's facing, to be honest with you. I'm looking at my little 10-inch Tom and it's going to the right, so I don't know. The other ones that I've done already, that I've already wrapped and done, I got them going to the left, so we're going with that. So they'll all match. I'm sure I'll have these drums apart again pretty soon. Because I don't really know anything about this wrap. I don't know if it's how durable it is, you know, how it's the other stuff was wrinkling on me. Hopefully this won't. This stuff is awesome. All right, so that's got our shell put back together. What you would normally do at this point is put your emblems back on. I'm skipping that step. So let's get our base. So there's a little notch on the base right here. I don't know if this camera is picking it up, but there's a little bump. And it's not anywhere on there. You can't mess this up. There's a little bump right there. Maybe this camera can see it. There's a bump right there. And the bottom of your shell has a notch in it right there. Can you see that? I don't know which camera's picking it up. There's a notch. It's right there. See it? Plain and simple. Line that notch up with your drum. Can't really screw that up. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start putting my bottom lugs back in the way that I took them out. Loosely. I'm not going to tighten any of them up until I get them all in there kind of hand tight. In a star pattern. I'm going to go across. I'm going to show you how to, I don't even know if it's the proper way, but I'm going to show you how to tighten these up. Because like I said earlier, all this does is hold the structure of the electronics up in the shell. Piece of daggum gold glitter. I got that crap everywhere. It just falls out like it's dusted. It's weird. Very, very cheap generic wrap that they use on these drums. Should have used a towel. Should have put a towel down. I'm not scratching up the bottom of the drum, but this is a soft material. It's not going to scratch, and I think these are powder coated. So I'm just going to put these on finger tight. Okay. Just going around, adjusting them finger tight. We're not going to tighten those up yet. I'm going to put the top head on first, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to put these connectors on here. Reverse the process that we did earlier. The one where you plug your drum up, it has two washers. One on the inside, one on the outside. I should have the drum turned around to the other camera, but hopefully the overhead camera is picking this up. I'm going to put that on hand tight for now. Until I get my other one on. I'll try to turn it around because I think this camera is picking this stuff up better. I don't know. I could be wrong. Now, I took the original wrap off. You'll probably want to, if you're doing like a vinyl wrap, you'll want to just wrap over the top of the original wrap. But this wrap that I'm using here is a little thicker. But yeah, the drum that I was doing the other day, I couldn't get this tight. So I had to take a piece of the old wrap and make like a little spacer. It'd been nice if I'd have had an extra washer or whatever, but I think I'm going to be able to get this one tight. But you don't want to get these really, really tight. You just want to just snug them up really good. Because you probably noticed, if your drum's never been took apart before, I noticed it when I did mine, that these were extremely loose from the factory. Yeah, I was like, that's kind of weird. But I'm going to go ahead and just give them a little, I'm not putting a lot of leverage with this wrench. I'm just basically turning it into a thumb screw. And just tighten those up. Be careful with your wires in here. You don't want to, you know, get too much tension on those, because I have heard that you can pull these off the pads real easy and people are having to resolder them back on. If I ever have to do that, I'm going to upgrade these wires because they're really thin. If I ever have to do any soldering or fixing on this. Anyway, moving on. Oh, back to, we already talked about this. Put my detent in the middle on that. Make sure I got my little indentation pointing to the top. Slip it on. Now we have our sensitivity back. All right, let's get our little piece of foam. You can't really mess this up. This thing goes one way. It doesn't have a circle here. So you really can't screw it up. You just place it on there. Let it lie down in there. Then you get your Kit Kat hair out. our top head. I always messed this up before. Line my head up with, line my emblem up with my mount here. I'm gonna hand tighten these lugs. Get these in hand tight. Trying to do this as fast as I can so I'm not making this video 3 years long. The reason why I wanted to put the top head on before I tighten the bottom is because the rim will help protect those foam parts when I turn it upside down, because it will be resting on the rim and not those. If you didn't put the head on first and you turn the drum over, it will be setting on those foam parts, and you don't want to do that. So in a star pattern, I'm not gonna crank one totally down. I'm just gonna kind of go around in a star and start slowly bringing these down, because all of the tension of these bolts, this is all plastic, and you don't want to over tighten these. But I'm just gonna I'm feeling it with my internal torque wrench. Right? I'm not cranking them down tight, but I'm feeling them and I'm getting them all evenly tensioned. Like that, you know, like not loose, not tight. It's hard to explain. This is you're going to be on your own when it comes to this, right? You don't want to crank them down real tight. Just kind of loose. And that's that. We'll clean it up later. It's got handprints all over it. We're not worried about it. Now the top head, same way. Let me make sure that I like to go around and make sure that I got them all evenly tensioned. I kind of give the rim a little push. Give it a little push. And tighten the bolt at the same time. And this is all going to be like how you want the head to feel when you're playing it. But I mean, already at this point, I can rub my hand across it and I can feel all those little foam things. So I do know that it needs more tension. So I'm going to go around and I just kind of quarter turn in a star pattern, slowly bringing it up. You can't really tune these mesh heads. I mean, you might can, but I don't know how. I mean, they're hard to hear. You can't really tune it. So now it's got some tension on it, and I can barely feel those. Yeah, there's no sense in even trying. But I kind of do the same thing. I just kind of feel the tension on the lug as I'm tightening it up. And I just like to just feel, this is just kind of my feel. It's kind of like making gravy. You can't really teach anybody how to do it. It's just by feel. So I'm feeling the tension of each lug. I know I'm going around in a circle now, but I've got them kind of close. I'm just kind of giving them a little test. And I think that's pretty much where I want it. And that's pretty tight. I like these heads tight. I like a lot of rebound. Let me grab me a stick. This is a 14-inch floor tom, so you know. Now I should have Should have moved this camera up now that I'm standing up. Now we're gonna put a rubber thing back on here and be done with this drum. It's got little notches in it. Just line that up with one of the lugs, roll it from the outside in, and then just go around doing that same thing from the outside in. Making sure your lugs is in center of the notches as you're going around. I think this video has gone long enough. I'm pulling it off because I'm going to have to kind of stretch it to line the center of my lugs up with that with the notch in the rubber. I think this video has gone a little bit longer than I was planning. So I don't think in this video I'm going to take a bass drum apart. I was going to go ahead and take the head off the bass drum and just show you how to remove the pad. But I think what I will do, because I've only got one more tom to do and I'll have all my toms done. But I think what I'll do in the next video when I'm like wrapping them, I'll mention a little bit about taking the bass drum apart. So be sure to subscribe if you're interested in what the inside of a bass drum looks like, because I'm going to be doing like a review on the wrap that I'm using. Look at that sparkle, I love it. It probably doesn't look great in this camera from what I'm seeing, but I bet it does over here. I don't know, I could be wrong. But yeah, the freaking sparkle, I like it a lot. I'm super stoked about the sparkle. So that's going to do it in this video. Appreciate you watching. Hopefully someone out there has watched this and has gained the confidence. Is like, you know what, that's not that bad. I thought it involved a whole lot more than that of taking them drums apart and putting them back together. But hopefully you got the confidence to do it now. Comment below, let me know. Say yes, thank you. I'm taking mine apart right now. There's tons of videos out there about wrapping, and a lot of people use vinyl, and there's contact paper. There's like, I'm not really going to do a video on wrapping a drum because there's just tons of videos out there about that. But this product that I've found, or that I've come across, it's different. I've never seen anything like it. So anyway, be sure to subscribe, because in the next video, we're going to be wrapping some bass drums.